Stephen King originally wanted Bruce Springsteen to play the role of Bill Robinson. Springsteen was unknown by De Laurentiis, so De Laurentiis personally hired Martin Sheen's son, Emilio Estevez. It is believed De Laurentiis' insistence that Estevez participate in the film was when King became disillusioned with the production. Gary Busey was interested in starring in the film, who had starred in Silver Bullet.
We were making the movie for a modest budget, and so you were going after actors that hadn't been established in pretty much your scale size of actors. I mean, Yardley Smith. She was just, and I remember meeting her in Los Angeles, and she just looked the character that you could just see Stephen King writing in the first place. You know, when she comes out and goes, "Curtis!" I mean, you just knew that Stephen had written that originally in her voice. The other characters around, Pat Hingle was fun to add to, because he's that southern old boy, and that was the tone that Stephen was going for. You know, what was Stephen going for in his actors? And it would be, you know, that very hot, humid, sweaty North Carolina, southern, dripping oppression of that, plus add that on to you've got the world going crazy and machines after you, and you're going to, you know, meet your doom.
John Short, who played my husband, I think he went to drama school, and I didn't. And so he was much more methodical about how to develop this character and this relationship. And I was just like, let's just wing it, dude, whatever. You seem like a nice guy, I like you, I can pretend to be married at you. And besides, I'm this naggy newlywed anyway. I can do all this. Let's just don't overthink it.
I think we clicked right off the bat. Yardley is a fabulous person. She's so nice, so easy to get along with. Really, really lovely. We just, you know, we hung out together all the time on the set. We had lunch together. We just hit it off immediately, and we were very comfortable with each other.
You know, I had done these couple of independent films that got great reviews, and I was kind of known as a tough girl and a bohemian, and so it was sort of a natural fit. I've always liked that kind of character. I like characters that take risks. I like complicated and sincere people who really strive to improve their lives. You know, I like characters that have a deep level of emotion. I love the fact that she carried a knife, because I too was sort of a survivor. I went to New York with $40 in my pocket, you know, and I pulled together a life out of thin air. So I identified with that part of her personality a lot. So obviously Stephen saw that in me, and we really had a kind of an instant rapport.
I really do want to keep acting. I feel that that's where I should be. I don't know, I just feel right doing it. And, you know, that's kind of not a big thing to say when you're a kid, you know. Oh, I want to be an actor. Tomorrow I could be a marine biologist. You know, you never know, but I think I do want to act, definitely.
Before Maximum Overdrive, I auditioned for Stand By Me. And I went back and met Rob Reiner like 3 or 4 times on that, because I wasn't quite dorky enough for Gordy LeChance, I think, wow, for Will Wheaton. And I wasn't quite kind of, frankly, butch and husky enough for River Phoenix. So I just went straight down to read for Stephen. And so I never saw other, you know, guys. He picked the scene where I find out my father's dead. We read it, and he said thanks, and said goodbye, and we walked outside. My mom was with me, and they said, Mr. De Laurentiis wants to see you. And the mayordomo leads my mother and I in, and he says, how old you are? And 13, you know, and he says, turn around. I just walk in a circle, that's silhouette. And he kind of stares for a second, and then he goes, it's okay, lady. He's got the job. And that was our dismissal. And we go back, we get in the Chevy Astra van, we drive back to the studio. When I walk back in the room, Stephen says, the part's yours if you want it. So I'd been cleared. And I was really excited, and I did a handspring. And that was the first time a director yelled at me. He said, whoa, don't break anything. We just hired you.
I played that character. I did that movie because I love Stephen King's books. And
Yeah.
when they said he was directing it, I said, I'm in. I want to do it. This sounds like a hoot. And the character's name was Camp Loman.
Right.
And I nicknamed him Willie Loman's third cousin removed.
That's
I had a
perfect.
ball with that character.
I got an agent and auditioned for a couple of movies, and then I landed. The first movie I landed with an agent was Maximum Overdrive.
I went down there, auditioned for the role, and a huge cattle call audition. There were people packed in the hallways and this, that, and the other. I went and read, obviously and oddly enough, for, if you know, are you very familiar with the movie?
Yeah.
Bathroom scene. You're gonna get in a lot of trouble, man.
It was sort of, well, he's a Southern guy, which I am, and the script read like he wasn't the brightest bulb in the pack, and just sort of a whipping boy for the owner, Mr. Hendershot, who was portrayed by Pat Hingle, who is probably one of the nicest men in the entire motion picture industry. But just thought the world of that man. Just a great guy.
He was really fun. He was a really fun guy to he how do I put it? He was a giving actor. Mm-hmm. He gave you a lot to react to, and 90% of acting is reaction anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really got into that role of Hendershot. Like...
Oh, fuck if I know, Bubba.
I came here the first time in '85 with Emilio Estevez. They did a Stephen King movie called Maximum Overdrive, and Stephen directed. And he never tried to direct again. I've done a couple of other things that he's written, and he's been there because he's that way. And he said, "No, I don't want to, no more of that directing." When Emilio and I came in on the plane from L.A., and they took us, because my wife was back there, his girlfriend was back there, waiting for us to find a place to live, and then they were coming in. And so this driver, local driver, takes us around. We go to Wrightsville Beach, which is the elite place, and we found a little beach, a little nice little apartments there, and we're coming back, and the bridge is up, and I mean the bridge just stays up, and I said to the driver, I said, listen, I said, does that bridge go up, at a certain time, every half hour, every hour, or what? He said, it goes up when it needs to go up. And so we keep sitting there for 30 minutes. I said, how long does it stay up? As long as it needs to stay up, And I said to Emilio, because I knew they were building a truck stop out on the highway, where we had to go. And one of the things that you've got to be, an actor has got to be, in fact, anybody that's making a movie has got to be punctual. Because all that time, I mean, it's not peanuts they're paying everybody. And so just when you're sitting around waiting on somebody to come, that is key to, you can't get started until they do come. You won't work long in the profession if you get and so I said, Emilio, we can't stay someplace where you never know whether the bridge is going to be up or not.
R. Pickett Bug, who was the guy who had the classic line, the whole world's gone tits up.
Yep.
And I still talk to him like about once a year. He doesn't like to be bothered. He's very seriously into music, his music.